Hi everyone, welcome to Basic Science Series. I'm your host Lokinder Kumar, and today I will explain the topic which is bacterial biofilms. As you can see on the computer screen, I have written the topic and I have also designed this illustration where I'm trying to show that bacterial biofilms, they are also like human communities. In case of humans, we have houses. In case of bacterial biofilms, you have tiny structures that houses various organisms. So since we are discussing just the bacterial biofilms, so we will only discuss the bacteria in this case. So that is why I've just designed this illustration to show you microbes. They also live a social life. They do have a social life like humans, but their social life is complex. It's relatively simple than humans, and it's quite different than humans. So that is what we are going to discuss in this particular topic. So the topic is bacterial biofilm. I have made few lectures on this particular topic, and this is another lecture where I am introducing bacterial biofilms again to discuss few of the important points regarding this particular topic. Now let's move on to the second slide, where you can see I have made the bacterial biofilm structure on a specific substrate. So to form a specific biofilm or a layer of bacteria requires a substrate. In this case, as you can see here in yellow color, I have shown a substrate. Now you will see another layer which is on the top of the bacterial growth, and that's the protective layer. Bacteria also have this layer so that cells can be protected. It's like we have houses, we have buildings, and we are protected by those buildings, and we live inside those buildings. In a similar way, bacteria also lives inside these communities inside these structures. So hopefully we will be able to understand what is a bacterial biofilm, what are the basic components of bacterial biofilm. I'll discuss the small detail of stages of biofilm formation. So let's move on to this next slide. Here, what I'm trying to show you is bacterial biofilm is not just the attachment to the surface. The cells, they are also attached to each other. So they will start attaching to the surface, they will start adhering together, then they will start secreting various complex structures, they will start secreting proteins, they will start secreting lipopolysaccharides, just lipids, they will start secreting polysaccharides, they will start secreting DNA, and that will work as the architecture that will help to build that architecture. And slowly then bacteria is going to build a three-dimensional structure, which is the biofilm. And biofilms, they are highly important in many scenarios. So we'll discuss all those cases. Now let's move on to the another slide, and you can see here I have another structure which is shown in orange color. And this I want to show is the extracellular matrix. Apart from the cell, bacterial cells, they are going to secrete a specific type of matrix which is composed of polysaccharides, which will be composed of, as I've already mentioned, proteins and some other chemical compounds, and that will help the integrity of the biofilm. That will help in the structure of the biofilm, and it is very important. And because of this extracellular matrix, bacteria, they are protected from environmental factors, they are protected from antimicrobial agents or some other chemical compounds. So as you can see here, you have the surface. On the top of that surface, you have bacterial cells, and they are attached first on the surface, and they are also attached together. And then they have this extracellular matrix, which is highly complex. And then you will construct, or the bacteria is going to construct a lot of different three-dimensional structure. So that is your biofilm, and this is the basic structure of the biofilm. Now, what are the different components inside the biofilms? You have polysaccharides that I have already told you that there will be different types of polysaccharides depending upon the biofilm. First, you need to remember that when we talk about biofilms in nature, we are not going to have a single organism. We'll have multiple types of organisms, and they are constantly interacting with each other. Some organisms, they will try to inhibit the other organism. Some organisms, they will try to promote the growth of one organism. So it will be a dynamic process, and then they will start secreting various components like polysaccharides, which is basically the chain of saccharide molecules, the chain of that's why you say chain of sugar molecules. Poly means lot of sugar molecules. And then you'll have proteins, and we also know that protein is basically the chain of amino acids, so it's a biopolymer molecule. Then you will have lipid molecules and extracellular DNA. Extracellular DNA is also very, very important in this case, especially in case of biofilm formation. Now these are some of the basic components of the biofilm. Now let's move on to the final slide. So as I've already told you that in this video, I'll just explain the basics. So biofilms, they are important in case of nature because in nature you have complex interaction. And in biofilm, the same thing is happening. It's like a tiny ecosystem where you have different types of microorganisms living together. And when we talk about bacterial biofilm, I'm just talking about the biofilm of the bacteria, but you'll have various types of organisms in the biofilm that are present in nature. Second, industry. So in industry, you have a lot of different types of industries, right? And where, especially in the food industry, where the environment is nutritious for organisms, bacteria, they are going to grow, and biofilm is going to get formed because of that nutrition. And then in chemical industry, you'll find bacterial biofilm over there as well. Hospitals. In hospitals, bacterial biofilm formation is a huge challenge because if bacteria is going to form biofilm in environment like hospital, then they are going to get protected by various agents, which are antiseptic agents, and then they are going to form the resistance against these, specifically antimicrobial resistance against antibiotics. Because in hospital you will find various kind of chemical treatments for the sanitization. If the bacteria is growing in that condition, that means the bacteria is really resistant. And also it's important because then you have immunocompromised patients in hospitals and they are prone to infection. So this is just a glimpse of bacterial biofilm, where we have tried to discuss what are bacterial biofilm, how they are formed, and what are their applications, especially in case of when we talk about ecosystem, when we talk about industry, or when we talk about hospitals. So I hope that with this basic video that you are able to understand biofilm, what are the different components of the biofilm, and what are the different applications of the biofilm. We'll meet in our next video, where I'll just bring more detailed video on biofilm as well as some other biosciences related topics. So if you like the videos, then please stay tuned and support the channel. Thank you.